This tutorial will cover how to evaluate web pages, especially how to evaluate web pages for use in academic research papers. Additionally, this tutorial will cover how to use the website evaluation form, which you will need to use for any websites that you use in your upcoming CCC research paper. First, I'm going to show you how to access and use the CCC library webpage. From the library homepage, select Articles, Databases, and Subject Guides under the Center Find menu. In the General and Interdisciplinary box, select the CCC Created and Called for Community Guide. Note that the upper left box of the CCC Library webpage contains a link to the website evaluation form. You'll need to use this form for any websites that you use in your upcoming research paper, except for websites from the library or the website of the organization that you choose. Any other websites need to be evaluated using this website evaluation form. You can see a copy of this form here on the right. When opening up the website evaluation form, simply select the link and it will open up in a new tab. What I then recommend doing is selecting the download icon and opening this up in the Adobe Acrobat Reader. You can then see what the form looks like here on the right. This form can then be filled out by simply typing into the fields. You can then save this form to your computer and then print it out to hand it in with a paper copy or submit it online through Canvas as a supplemental file to your research paper. When you have a website that you're going to evaluate, simply fill out the top part of the website with your name, your instructor, the website title, and the URL. We'll then go through how to evaluate the website that you're using using this form. Basically, this form asks you to evaluate any website based on 4 main criteria. They are the authority of the website, the accuracy of the website, whether or not the website has any bias, and if the information on the website is current. As you can see, there are 10 criteria within those 4 categories. While you might have been used to evaluating websites for classes maybe in high school, perhaps this is a little bit more in depth of an evaluation. Therefore, we'll go through each step. After you evaluate the website based on these 10 criteria by giving each criteria a yes or a no, you would count the number of yeses that you provided, and that will give you a score which you will record near the bottom of the evaluation form. You then simply look at the score. If the website scored between a 1 and a 5, you should not use this website as a source for an academic research paper. If it scored between 6 to 8, this website might be appropriate for an academic research paper, but you should probably verify those facts through additional sources or contact the librarian for assistance. If it scored very high, a 9 to a 10, you may use this website as a source for an academic research paper. This is really meant as a guide. And just because a website receives a low score doesn't mean that it is a, quote, bad website. It just simply means it may not be appropriate for an academic research use. If a website does receive a score between 1 and 8, but you firmly believe that it is still useful for your paper, you simply need to give the reason. The purpose of this evaluation is not to be judgmental on a paper or make it so difficult that you cannot use a website. Rather, it's to help you think critically about the website and the information found on the website and determine if it scores highly or state the reason that you want to use this website if it scores a little bit lower, say between a 1 and an 8. So let's see how this would actually work for a website. Let's say that you had determined that the issue that you want to research in your upcoming paper was the issue of gun violence. You had found a nonprofit organization that addresses gun violence, and now you're doing research about that issue itself. What you would simply do, let's say then that you were looking for statistics about gun violence, and through a Google search you found this web page about gun violence from the National Institute of Justice. You would then open up the website evaluation form, complete the top, and then go through the 10 criteria. The first 3 questions are about the authority. Can you find the author or sponsoring organization? And who is that sponsoring organization? Does the author have appropriate credentials, or does the organization have a purpose and mission appropriate for the topic? If it is an individual, you should look for advanced degrees, such as a PhD in the topic of the website, or some other reason that they have the expertise to be talking about this topic. And finally is the domain in .edu, .org, or .gov. So in this particular case, there is no author, but there is an organization, the National Institute of Justice. I'm just going to type NIJ for time's sake. Does the author have appropriate credentials? Well, in this case, the National Institute of Justice, one of their main purposes is to collect and disseminate statistics about all kinds of violence and crime in the United States. So yes, they definitely have the credentials, and their organization does match the purpose of looking for statistics about this type of violence. And finally, the domain is a .gov. So I will just simply type .gov in the form and answer yes. The next set of criteria are about whether or not the sources of the information are fully documented, and based on reading that you have already done, does the information seem accurate and consistent? As I were to go through here, I would see that yes, for the statistics that they provide, they do near the bottom provide a notes or a bibliography. Just like you are expected to document all of your sources and facts, websites should do the same. So in this case, yes, they fully document all the statistics, so you can go and see exactly where this data comes from. So I will mark yes, and based on the reading, if I have done other reading, I would hopefully see that this information seems consistent with what I'm finding elsewhere. The next set of criteria is about bias. Does the website seem free of opinion? Is it free of absolute words? And that's just saying, are they making outrageous claims, such as using words always, never, best or worst, or those types of similar claims? And is the website free of advertisement? As I look through here, I can see that they are not trying to sway the argument one way or another. They're simply providing the statistics that have been gathered. So it does seem that it is free of opinion. There are no absolute words or any kind of extreme claims being made. And there are no advertisements. So I would say, yes, the site is free of advertisements. And finally, is the information current? Now, currency kind of depends on the topic that you're looking at, but in general, I would like to see research or data within 5 years. Now, if you're looking at the history of a topic, obviously it's okay to have, and you should have, items that are older than 5 years. So it does depend on your particular topic. For this topic, I would like to see statistics within 5 years. So as I scroll down, Often they may have data or dates near the bottom, and I can see that this website was last revised in 2013. So it's starting to get a little bit dated. I would say it is still current, but I would like to see it updated maybe this year. And are the sources of information cited on the website current? And as you can see, the sources are from 2011 to 2013. Again, it's starting to get a little bit dated, especially that 2011. So in this case, it's almost a toss-up because some of the data is 5 years old and some of it is 3 years old at this point. So I'm going to actually say no. I would like to see more current data for that. When I count up the number of yeses, I still receive a very high score of 9. And so I would conclude that this website is appropriate for academic research paper. As you go through and evaluate websites, you may find that there are some criteria that you would need to judge and know. Again, you would simply go through all 10 criteria, count up the number of yeses, receive your score, and then proceed accordingly as to whether or not this the website that you're looking at would be appropriate for academic use. As always, you can contact a librarian for help. Simply look for the chat with the librarian or leave librarian a message on the green bar at the bottom of any library webpage. We're happy to help.